Gayatri Mahamantra. Om Bhuribhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Deva Maheshwara Guru Deva Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. अखंड मंडलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. ओम श्री गुरुवे नमः. व्यासरूपेण आवाहयामि स्थापयामि ध्यायामि पूजयामि ततो नमस्कारं करोमि. Shrimed Bhagavad Gita chapter number 10 Vibhuti Yoga and verse number 4 and 5. Under Vibhuti Yoga, it is explicitly being brought to our notices that excellence of any order belongs to it and it alone. And here the it should be ascribed to Keshava, Krishna. A personification of it is Krishna over here, where there is a usage of the noun me, myself. Everything owes its existence to me, Arjuna, be it any form of excellence or anything which is an antonym to that excellence. Even that belongs to me and me alone, because I am the only source. To proceed upon this understanding, we further into the next verse over here, verse number 4, that is before your notices. As it goes, it says, Buddhir Jnanam Asammoh Kshama Satyam Damah Shamah Sukham Dukham Bhav Abhava Bhayam Cha Abhayam Eva Cha. Now, if you understand the meaning of these words, what it wants to convey, Buddhi Jnanam Asammoh Kshama Satyam Damaha Shamaha. Buddhi is the ability to determine. Let us first of all come down to this aspect of Buddhi, the ability to discern and determine. It is the Buddhi alone, when purified, it becomes so perspicacious that it can comprehend the facts that are not even available to our senses, whether by drawing some inference or whether by gathering as a part of a deeper understanding. Even the science of the frontiers or the most advanced complex science of the world at present in any form of sphere, there you shall find the perspicacious aspect of the intellect trying to access the facts that are not apparent to our senses. The only example which I have been referring for the past several years is the nanometer, the nanoscale. Not visible to the naked eyes, yet the exploration based upon the understanding gathered by the intellect of the unseen fact has enabled us watch so many new creations that have come in the form of devices and technologies for the mankind. So intellect here means, the buddhi here means the ability to comprehend and understand facts that are not before us. And it happens with the purified intellect that it can even go beyond into the dimensions of subtlety, the subtle dimensions. The example of nanoscale, no doubt, pertains to the subtle aspects, but not the subtle dimension. It is there on the physical plane. It concerns the matter. But a purified intellect can also explore access to this subtle dimension altogether, where there is no room for matter. In the realms of consciousness, our intellect can even pervade into that if it is pure and becomes perspicacious as an outcome of purity. And Arjuna, as the personified it conveys, Arjuna, it is me alone that is the purified intellect, the ability to determine, discern, and comprehend facts beyond your notices. How are you gathering these words? You may ask, these words which are not directly mentioned into the verse. The interpretation for this particular two shloka goes to the exclusivity of Adiguru Shankaracharya ji. He has very well interpreted each and every single word of these two verses, which enable us to equip with an understanding which ordinarily the word, mere usage of word, may not afford to give us for an understanding. So here the intellect has to be understood in a broader realm of ability to discern and gather comprehension about the subtlety and subtle dimensions. The next word is Gyan, knowledge. The omniscient will always have anything and everything into it. It has infinity and eternity both. In the encompassing of the infinity, what is excluded? Nothing. It has all, it knows all. So knowledge is already there. It is we who access the knowledge. The more our purity, in inner purity, comes to the surface, it rises, increases, the more and better is the access to the knowledge that is already pervading into this cosmic mind. Knowledge, in the terms of intuition, the intuitive inputs are also part of knowledge. At the same times, there are various kinds of facts that surface to our own understanding within ourselves upon various subjects within and without us. That can be termed as knowledge. Knowledge primarily has also been discerned by the exalted ones as something which you cannot change, something which you have not invented, something which is already there, the changeless aspect of any knowledge. That is pure knowledge. And in the realms of consciousness, everything is available and beyond change. It cannot be mutated. You cannot mutate consciousness. Mutations may be available on the material plane, but mutations have no room at the end of consciousness. Yes, in awareness, which is the emanation of consciousness, there can be certain changes we can make. But the basic consciousness, no room. It is the only one which is termed as the changeless. And the knowledge about it is already there. We make ourselves available to it through the purity of our intellect and our efforts, spiritual efforts. So, Arjuna, knowledge too owes its existence to me and me alone. Further, it goes on to say, asammoha. Asammoha is the antonym of sammoha. Sammoha means delusion. The world as it is projected before us on the physical plane is a distorted one. Distorted? Why? What distortion do you see in a wall, maybe in the shape, form, or maybe construction? But a wall is a wall. No doubt about that. But if you try to probe it into the subtlety of it, then if we draw conclusions from the physics, modern physics, it may settle down to a mass of certain vibrations, particles, maybe particles of light go beyond that, going beyond the journey of quarks and bosons. Maybe it is light. So, In fact, it is particles, but apparently appears to be a solid mass like a wall, hard, tough wall. So, a projection of a fact which is otherwise having a different stature is coming to our notices. So, in a way, it is a delusion, not illusion. The difference between delusion and illusion is illusion has no existence. Delusion has an existence, but the existence differs from the projection. Like a movie is a frame, different frames very well arranged, and emotion is created thereby. Otherwise, it is merely still frames which have been shot at a very high speed, and when moved at a particular pace before our eyes, it appears to be as a motion film. So, that again is a form of a delusion. So, the opposite of delusion will be clarity. Asamoha means absolute clarity. Clarity is the bliss upon this planet for a human. Unless we have clarity about any of the objective of our life, we cannot offer our entirety in its pursuit. Can we? No, we cannot. If there is ambiguity about our own objective and we do not know with all clarity what exactly do we aspire, desire, yearn for, then what will happen? Our efforts will be half hearted and our entire ability will be fragmented or withheld. So, clarity is a bliss. Here, the Krishna Keshava, the Lord conveys, look, Arjuna, even that clarity is me, myself. If I am not there, you will not be able to gather clarity. It does not mean that he controls everything, like he controls the finer aspects of intelligence, he controls the knowledge, he controls this aspect of asammoho, clarity. He everything owes its existence to him, but he does not control it. There is a difference between these two different understanding. Everything owes to Krishna. The origin is from Krishna. Everything is controlled by Krishna. Two different things. Whereas control is concerned, here the Adiguru Shankaracharya is mentioned as a swakarma anurupena, based upon your actions, in accordance to your actions. So, in accordance to your action, anything which owes its existence to Krishna, everything rather, everything that owes its existence to Krishna, that fructifies. You realize and you cherish it. You cherish it on the base of a principle, which again is immutable. And that principle also is a creation of Krishna, which is karma and outcome, action, reaction. So, based upon swakarma anurupen, in accordance to your own karma, everything that I've created, that fructifies accordingly. The question may arise in your mind that if everything is, it owes existence from Krishna, then does he also have exclusive control upon everything? To whom to give and whom not to give, to harm whom and to benefit whom? No, it's not like that. Everything is based upon the principle which is running this entire universe, that is the principle of karma, action, reaction. So, based upon that, we cherish the outcomes. Now, moving further, the next thing that Krishna mentions over here is Kshama and then Satyam after that. Kshama, forgiveness. How do we understand forgiveness? Forgiveness as a compassion, as a discount to others? Not exactly. Adi Shankaracharya has excellently brought that to our notices. that Kshama here has to be understood differently. When we have a conflict with any person, in those situations, what happens? We become more aggravated, aggressive, and then we want to repel, and repel in the terms that we want to really take a revenge, or we want to answer, reply, react accordingly. In such a situation, if we somehow can save ourselves from not responding, reacting, or repelling accordingly, that should be taken as forgiveness. So, here, forgiveness is not to someone else or to seek forgiveness, but to observe forgiveness from any impact that may arise from any conflicting situation. To experience forgiveness from the impacts of any conflicting situation that may arise and cast its impel upon us. And as an outcome, then we start churning within ourselves, either to avenge or to react or to become or to come down to acrimony, whatever. But in other simple terms, it's like reacting the same way or even with more of intensity. And if somehow we are able to observe an inner forgiveness from that impact that is arising out of such a situation, should be understood as kshama. So here forgiveness is not outward, but as an observation within from the impacts of conflicting situations. That kind of an ability, not easy. Coming out of the contaminated intellect and coming towards purified intellect, not easy. Exploring the immensity of true knowledge, not that easy. Coming out of the clutches of delusion and trying to see the facts as they are, not that easy. With clarity, not that easy. And then at the same time, the last one, as it has been mentioned to you here, is the kshama, forgiveness, not that easy, cannot be developed overnight. It requires countless failures before we gather a tiny bit of some success within ourselves and develop in such a unfathomable endurance whereby no impel of any kind of conflict shall come and infringe our state of mind, our equanimity within. After that comes damaha, shamaha. Dama means Dama means a restraint upon sensorial organs, sensory organs, indriya, a regulation upon them. Is that easy? No, that's not easy. But by instilling discipline upon them, maybe through countless failures accepted, gaining some outcome out of that should be understood as Dhamma. Shama is also compatriot. Shama means a restraint at the end of the mind, that your mind does not wander into any wilderness and try to run out of for its own independent voyage, cherishing its ambitions through the unregulated sensory organs. Shama is difficult. Dama can be imposed externally, that I don't have to see like towards those things. I don't have to listen to those words. I don't have to speak like that. I don't have to touch certain materials. So that is an external restriction that can be imposed till the moment you qualify to that extent that you are able enough to exercise inner control. Inner control may take years together to gather some some control. But till the point that arrives, the outward control can certainly be instilled by forcing yourself not to see things which otherwise take you for unmindful, wild voyages. Till then, those territories, a prohibition to those territories can be restricted by external application of a prohibition, observation of a prohibition. Shama and Dhamma, Dhamma and Shama. So, Dhamma can be imposed initially. Shama, that is the inner regulation of the mind, will take time. But Arjuna, believe it that the ability of Dhamma, outer control, Shama, inner control, both they owe their existence to me and me alone. The next it goes on to convey in the next line is the Sukham, Dukham, Bhava, Abhava, Bhayam, Cha Bhavev, Cha. Now here it wants to convey Sukham and Dukham. Now, Sukham, what is Sukh? A deeper understanding of Sukh is not pleasure. It's not pleasure. We may have been sharing with our known ones at different occasions when we talk about certain people whom we say, he has abundance of wealth, but somehow to cherish gratification out of that wealth is not to his destiny. He does not have the fate. He's so or she is so ill fated that cannot find that kind of gratification, inner gratification of all the accumulations or possessions that he or she bears. She has or he has an excellent house, abundance of wealth, lot many cars, network, yet always is under some or the other pain. There is some or other kind of a deprivation, some or other kind of the inability, has never been able to gratify itself with that kind of a possession. So, here it automatically translates that Sukh is entirely distinctive from accumulation or possessions. So, Krishna conveys deeper gratification from either worldly pleasures or about the spiritual experiences that we term as anubhuti and sukhad anubhuti, that is exclusively my domain, that comes from me and me alone. Arjuna, not alone that, even going beyond, even the dukkha, something which is pain, that also comes from me. Here, sometimes the mind undergoes a confusion by observing this duality at the same time, owing its existence from the same Lord. How can it be that the Lord is the master of all sukh and at the same time all pain? Yes, the Lord is the master of darkness, the Lord is the master of light. The Lord is the master of divine, Lord is the master of demons. So it is divine or demonic, it is dark or it is bright, it is sukh or it is pain. They all come from only one singularity, one single source. The oneness, there are no two, that you have a different God for pain and different God for ananda, deeper gratification, or for that may say, let's take the word pleasure. You don't have different gods. The source of origin is only one. The divine and demons, they have one single source. There are no two. So going by that, There is no need for us to go into a kind of a confusion when we observe this kind of a duality. The source is one. So, Arjuna, even the dukkha, it comes from me and me alone. Bhava abhavaha. Now, bhava abhavaha, what does it mean? Bhava abhava. The creation, if you can see it here also, the creation, what the creation? Creation, entire creation of any kind, all dispositions, they come from where? They come from Keshav and Keshav alone. It is the only source. And what about the dissolution? Yes, the creation and dissolution, they both come from the same source. Evolution and destruction both owe to the same source. There are no two for that. If the entire creation is a manifestation of it, then again, when the final moment comes, then again this entire creation will be devoured, swallowed, shall enter into it and it alone. So it alone is the source of entire creation and destruction or dissolution. And the same goes for bhaya, abhayam. Now, bhaya and abhayam, fear and fearlessness. Arjuna, I am the source for that. That is what Keshav conveys. Fear and fearlessness, yes. Fear means, Krishna, when you move away from me, you have no faith in me, you drift away, then you are under fear because then you are on your own. Then you have nothing to bank upon. Then you consider yourself as the only doer, the karta. That does not mean that one should abstain from giving one's 100% to the pursuit of one's objective. No, it is not so. One must offer everything one has got in the pursuit of one's core meaningful objectives. But at the same time, the final outcome is concerned that again should be vested into the Almighty. Giving your 100%, outcome again on it, because there may be certain reasons that may abstain us to gain the kind of benefit that we had determined as an outcome for in the pursuit of any objective. So Arjuna believed that when you move away from me, deflect away from me, fear comes. When you go away from the sun, the darkness. When you come near the sun, light. Likewise, when you are close to me, proximity to me, with me, in me, then you are experiencing fearlessness. Because then you offer entirety of all outcome to me. Whatever may happen, I am giving my 100%. Whatever will happen, I will have to accept it as an outcome bestowed upon me by the Almighty. But if you take the charge upon yourself, I will ensure that I only and only succeed and I do not fail. Only and only. Then what happens is the element of uncertainty also shall accompany. Then be prepared for that. But both, they owe their existence to me. It does not mean in any way that one should not take responsibility. There are assignments where zero error is required. What error? Zero error. While flying an aircraft, especially the fighter aircraft or any aircraft for that matter, what is the level of error that you expect? Zero. Any compromise? No compromise. So zero error has to be ensured. But at the back of the mind, if there is any fear for that if something goes wrong, then that fear has to be submitted at the lotus feet of the Almighty. That for anything which is uncertain is offered to your feet. I am embarking upon a journey towards and through zero error. But wherever any uncertainty, any unforeseen is there, aspect is there, that is submitted at your lotus feet. So, whether it is fear or fearlessness, They both owe their existence upon to me, but you get the benefits, you reap the outcome based upon the principle that is swakarma anurupena, in accordance to your own karma. Though everything owes its existence to me, yet to you it comes through this principle. This principle shall dispense and offer you the final outcome. Now, having said that, the next verse it says, Ahimsa samata tushti tapah danam. Ahimsa samata tushti tapah danam yashah ayashah bhavanti bhavah bhutanam matta eva prithak vidaha. Non-violence, equanimity, contentment, austerity, charity, fame, ill fame. Now here we start with the non-violence first and then come down to samatha. Non-violence, purely to be understood as non-injury. Now violence here should not be ever confined to something which is physical. No. Violence has a far more bigger ambit to be covered under the kind of violence that we commit through our mental reactions, our responses through our mind, through our thought, to kind of perceptions that we make to avenge something, to harm someone. They are far more dangerous and violent. People generally say and consider that non-violence is not hitting someone on physical terms. Not at all. Hitting someone on the mental terms is far more violent. And the violence also should not be confined to think bad about someone, usurping the rights of other people, trying to go by such an accumulation whereby you withdraw the wealth of everybody, the right of everybody by your might. Is it not violence? It is violence. When you infringe into the rights of the others through any demeaning or demeaned mode, you are committing a violence. So, violence should be taken into a larger ambit. So, ahimsa, I am ahimsa, Arjuna, because ahimsa in other term means harmony. The ahimsa practiced in true sense is blissful harmony. If everyone complies to ahimsa, what are you doing? Jagat hitacha. You're serving the humanity, the mankind. You are sowing the seeds for harmonious affluence for everybody. Blissful harmony, where everyone will have the right to cherish and to experience their share of goodness. So ahimsa has to be understood in a larger term. The next term, which is here, is samata, equanimity. This is too big. Inner equanimity. Inner equanimity is not that easy. It is difficult. But we all practice through various kinds of spiritual experiments by our own examination, introspection, correction, through various other modes. We try to see that we do not respond with an instinctive, impulsive response to different situations which are more of adverse. Of course, even situations that give us some sort of, as you say, euphoric experiences, even toward that. So, trying to distance from that awe or disawe, I don't know, disawe is a word or not, but let it be coined from that or from the disawe, oh, going beyond that and experiencing that inner equipoise, equilibrium, equanimity within is called as samatha. That too is me, Arjuna. And of course, it's not that easy because we all have to give response. And here the response is not outward. The response has to be more inward. Outward, we may project through different body gestures by becoming more, what you say, through some skillful training, not to pass on our inner reactions on the face and show a calmness on the face and equanimity as we are unaffected. But within ourselves, there is an eruption of a lava, volcanic eruption going on within ourselves. So here the equanimity means there is no volcanic eruption within. You have distanced from any outward situation, whatever, good or bad. Your inner equanimity remains unaffected. Is that easy? No, that is not easy. But that is the objective of all spiritual practices, which will happen. It will happen gradually, but that is what we aim towards. That at point a time should come when we are so evolved that we do not give any inner response to any of the occurrences that transpire at the superficial ends of our conduct. So that inner equanimity, Arjuna, is also me. Tushti here has to be understood as deep contentment. Deep contentment. Deep contentment again is an inner observation, not outer. Going beyond that kind of dissatisfaction. Generally, what happens is there is an inner disgruntlement, inner dissatisfaction that keeps coming to us. We remain dissatisfied within ourselves. Despite of doing all, the dissatisfaction is like a smoldering fire, a smoldering fire which goes on, smolders within us. Very dangerous. A deep sense of inner gratification, contentment must arise. But you're saying must arise, but do you think it will come that easy? See, I've always informed you, not only in this verse, but even in other verse, all these kind of virtues have been aimed towards, aimed for, not that it is a present state. And the entire struggle of a spiritual aspirant is when we are aiming towards them, one day, through our countless failures, we will be able to acquire such an endurance, such a state where we experience not only inner equanimity, but also an undisturbed, without a single ripple, an inner state where there is deep contentment, and we observe this entire life as a dance ongoing on the surface, disassociated, distanced, as a witness observing, drashta, experiencer, observer observing it. The next word, it conveys tapaha, austerity, deep austerity. I am the tapa, Arjuna. What is tapa? I am the tapa. Because if tapa is not for everyone to embark upon, the process of incineration, physical discipline, and mental regulation, physical discipline and mental regulation, mental restraint is tapa. There are different modes of tapa. We have separate recordings given to that, different modes of tapa. But at the end, they will boil down to these two, whether in the form of a physical discipline or in the form of a mental restraint. There is a restraint that has to be imposed upon the wandering desires, the wandering mind that wants to cherish its own unmindful, unreasonable pursuits. A regulation upon that is tapa, is austerity. And that ability of austerity comes through me and me alone, Arjuna. But again, Swakarma Anurupen. The next one is Danam Yashaha Ayashaha. Now, Danam Yasho Ayashaha means what? It means Dan is, of course, charity. Charity, is everybody equipped to embark upon charity, commence charity? No, everybody is not. And moreover, even with the little that you want to share with others, with a compassionate heart, in order to give yourself some conclusiveness, not that you want to be seen in the eyes of the others, not that. Exercising your part of Jagat Hitacha, spreading goodness, sharing goodness with others, with a pure, compassionate heart, that is Dhanam. And that does not come, Arjuna, unless it is my bliss. Generally, what happens? We want to do charity. At the same time, we want to also benefit out of our actions, such actions. Benevolence, we want to transact, bargain something in the terms of benevolence. I give charity. What do I take back? What is the deliverable? Some name, fame, or what? No. When it is devoid of anything, just by a pure heart which wants to do good, that is dhanam. Arjuna, that state of mind is me. Yashaha, ayashaha. Yasha means the kind of fame that people seek for. And as Adi Shankaracharya has given a wonderful term for that, yasha should not be sought for doing bad things, but yasha, that is, the fame should always be sought through dharma kirti, that means doing the right things, becoming exemplary for others. That kind of a yasha, fame, should be always should always be opted by any spiritual aspirant. Ayasha is also me. The ill fame is also me, Arjuna, because based upon swakarma anurupen, the karma, and in accordance to your karma shall the outcome come. You will be able to reap yashaha, fame, or ill fame. You must remember, I am the source to both. Benefits will come to you in accordance to your karma, but the source is me and me alone. Bhavanti bhava bhutanam mat ev prithak vidaha. From me are many different dispositions of being. Not only what all I have mentioned to you, Arjuna, apart from that, whatever exists in the form of any observation, any experience, any feeling, good or bad, it owes its existence to me, and me alone. You simply experience them. You give yourself to them. You don't create them. You don't originate them. The origin is from me. You are merely an experiencer, the observer. Remember that, Arjuna. Everything owes its existence to me and me alone. Having said that, it's enough for these two words for this day. ओम ही सत्य है, ओम ही सत्य है, ओम ही सत्य है.